Thank you so much, Metheny Wong Trakun. Metheny is currently engaged as a choreographer in the latest Circus Sikur production, Ipopomina. Dance your anger. Yes, of course. Dance your anger and your joys. Dance the guns to silence. Dance, dance, dance. This line is from the poem by the writer and environmental activist Ken Saro-Wiwa, Right Livelihood Award Laureate, 1994. The same year, the world-famous Swedish author of children's books, Astrid Lindgren, also received the award. Dear Right Livelihood Award laureates, dear friends, welcome. My name is Josette Bushell-Mingo. I am an actress, theatre, and head of the acting education at Stockholm's University. But mostly, I am honored to be your host tonight for this prestigious event. It's wonderful to have all of you here and to have this amazing venue. But of course, there are those who could not make it tonight. At 3 of the tables among you, we have empty chairs. Chairs that should have had people in them. Where Waleed Abu al-Khair, Abdullah al-Hamid, and Mohammad Fahad al-Qahtani should have been seated. But they were unable to be here, imprisoned in Saudi Arabia for their peaceful human rights work. We want them to know that although they are missing tonight, they are not forgotten. That this evening, and for as long as we can, we will speak their names and incorporate them into the amazing network of 174 laureates from 70 countries. Laureates who will remember them and offer support and sustain a beautiful thread of connection and friendship beyond this evening or the years ahead. This support is the strength, the lifeline to each other, no matter where they are, and that this is what the laureates share, a unique bond. We want you to feel their presence this evening. Bring them into your discussions and thoughts. The Right Livelihood Award Foundation provides long-term support to its laureates. And what you are experiencing here tonight is the beginning of a lifelong relationship between the laureates and the foundation. So I am delighted to welcome on stage Ole von Uxkull, Executive Director of the Foundation, to tell us more about the Foundation's work and future projects.
Thank you very much, Josette, and a very warm welcome to all of you. And a special welcome to the laureates and their representatives, including several laureates from earlier years. We are so proud, dear laureates and representatives, to have you here. From today on, you, the new laureates, are part of a worldwide network of practical visionaries. A network of people who dare to think the impossible and who work practically to make it possible. A network of people who don't give up in the face of our enormous global crises, but who show that alternative solutions do exist. And who, in doing so, give us hope and inspiration that is so badly needed to overcome this crisis. So when I say this award is more than just an award, I mean, as a foundation, we are working actively with this whole network of 174 laureates who have received the award since 1980. And how are we doing that? Of course, the most important thing we're doing every year is to select 4 laureates and present the award to them and organize this program and the whole award week. But we also work with the network along 3 dimensions: to support, to educate, and to inform. To support means that we do give lifelong support to the laureates who've received this award. We have consultative status with the United Nations and an office in Geneva where we can accredit them and bring them into international political processes. Unfortunately, a large number of them are threatened in their home countries because of the work they do, and we have a dedicated protection program for those laureates. And we support them with joint advocacy and campaigns. When I talk about to educate, we cooperate with 9 universities around the world, and there are representatives from some of those universities here tonight, to educate a new generation of change makers about the solutions provided by our laureates. We bring the laureates to the universities, and those universities give scholarships to young people who study the work of laureates. And maybe most important of all is our information work. It's been said that a falling tree makes more noise than a growing forest. We always hear about the scandals and the problems, and in our information work we make sure that the solutions provided by our laureates become visible as the force that they are as growing solutions for a better tomorrow. In this work, we're also honoring the memory and the intellectual legacy of those laureates who are no longer with us. Sadly, in this year, 2018, we lost a number of bright stars in this universe. So we remember with gratitude the lives and work of José Antonio Abreu from Venezuela, Uri Avneri and Felicia Langa from Israel, Samuel Epstein and Gene Sharp from the United States, and Asma Jahangir from Pakistan, who died way too young. These laureates continue to inspire so many people, and we carry their vision forward in our education and information work. In the case of Gene Sharp, for instance, this led to the project Tror du att du kan förändra världen utan att anstränga dig? Which in English is, do you think you can change the world without making an effort? That's a book and an event series about reviving our democracy by Stina Oskarsson and inspired by the late Gene Sharp, which many of you will have seen touring the country or on television. Dear friends, the Right Livelihood Award is an award from people to people. It's an award building connections. As our late laureate, the quantum physicist Hans-Peter Dürr pointed out, reality is made of interactions. And this is not only true for our laureates network, it's also true for the connection between the laureates and us as a foundation and every one of you. We need you to make our work possible. The work of the Right Livelihood Award Foundation is financed by private donations. And I want to say a big, big thank you to all our donors. And if you want to become one of them, do talk to me later at the dessert. We also need your nominations to make this award possible. Unlike the Nobel Prize, where only the global elite can send in nominations, everybody in the world can make a nomination for the Right Livelihood Award. And next year, we will present these awards for the 40th time. And we need your ideas for who should be standing on this stage and be honored in a year from now. You can send us your nominations until the 1st of March. And now, we look forward to an amazing evening with the 2018 Right Livelihood Award laureates. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. After our dinner, we'll also hear the laureates themselves speak about their work. But now I am excited. It is time for the laureates to receive their awards from the chair of the Right Livelihood Award Foundation Board, Paul Atkins, and board member Amelie von Zweiberg. In Guatemala, still reeling from the effects of decades of internal conflict, Thelma Aldana from Guatemala and Iván Velásquez from Colombia have demonstrated historically unique models of joint international and local legal action. That sets a benchmark for other countries with similar challenges. The cooperation between them and the institutions they have represented has resulted in several high-profile and sensitive criminal investigations and arrests. But to know more, we will now watch a short film all about them.
Thelma Aldana and Iván Velásquez have been at the forefront of one of the most successful anti-corruption efforts in the world. Through their leadership, they have spearheaded the campaign to tackle deep-rooted criminal networks and corruption that have plagued Guatemala for decades. Under Aldana and Velásquez's leadership at the Public Prosecutor's Office and the International Commission Against Impunity in Guatemala, respectively, high-profile investigations were made. Most notably, the La Línea corruption case which led to the arrest of then-President Otto Pérez Molina. As a result, they have faced continued resistance and endured great personal risk. Aldana and Velásquez have played a crucial role in shaping a defining era in Guatemalan history, while also rebuilding trust in public institutions.
Thelma Aldana and Iván Velásquez receiving the Right Livelihood Award for innovation and exposing abuse of power, prosecution, corruption, thus building people's trust in public institutions. Be standing. Thank you. In Saudi Arabia, where basic human rights, such as freedom of speech and assembly, are denied, al-Hamid, al-Qahtani, and al-Khair are calling for universal human rights and the establishment of a constitutional monarchy. They are demanding the separation of powers and equality for all. Al-Hamid and al-Qahtani are academics and co-founders of one of the few Saudi human rights organizations, the Saudi Civil and Political Rights Association, which is currently banned in the country. Abu al-Khair is best known for his legal defense of prominent Saudi activists such as Raif Badawi, and for founding another, now banned human rights organization, Monitor of Human Rights in Saudi Arabia. We will now watch a short film about the 3 Saudi laureates.
Abdullah al-Hamid, Waleed Abu al-Khair, and Mohammad Fahad al-Qahtani are 3 of the most prominent Saudi civil and human rights defenders. They have challenged the authoritarian system through peaceful methods. They call for separation of powers and equality for all, including the abolishment of male guardianship, which deprives women of their most basic rights. As a consequence of their courageous struggle, they have been sentenced to between 10 and 15 years imprisonment and are all currently in jail. Their visionary and inclusive approach to shaping a positive future for their home country is a great source of inspiration for many people in Saudi Arabia and the wider Gulf region.
Al-Qahtani's son, Omar, will now, together with the London-based Saudi human rights defender, Yahya Assiri, whom all 3 laureates have asked to represent them, receive the Right Livelihood Award in the absence of Abdullah al-Hamid, Mohammad Fahad al-Qahtani, and Waleed Abu al-Khair, for their visionary and courageous efforts guided by universal human rights principles to reform the totalitarian political system in Saudi Arabia. Be standing. You can take that. They're yours to keep. Yahya Assawadogo's farming technique has helped families create food security, conserve rainwater, and improve soil fertility. This allows farmers to produce crops even in years of drought. Trees planted together with the crops serve to enrich the soil, produce fodder for livestock, and create business opportunities like beekeeping. This helps farmers adapt to climate change, reduce rural poverty, and prevent local resource and water-related conflicts. So, let's together take a look at a short film to know more about Yahya Assawadogo's work.
Yahya Assawadogo from Burkina Faso is known as the man who stopped the desert. Starting around 1980, he has created a 40-hectare forest on barren and abandoned land. Sawadogo's remarkable success builds on experimenting with traditional planting pits for soil, water, and biomass retention, referred to as zai in the local language. By organizing trainings, he has empowered other farmers to regenerate their land as well. As a result, tens of thousands of hectares of severely degraded land have been restored to productivity in Burkina Faso and Niger. The zai technique, improved and developed by Sawadogo, could become an important tool to counter forced migration and build peace.
Yahya Assawadogo, please come onto the stage to receive the Right Livelihood Award for turning barren land into forest and demonstrating how farmers can regenerate their soil with innovative use of indigenous and local knowledge. There you go. Tony Rinaudo realized that if it was people who had reduced the forest to a barren landscape, it would require people to restore it. Changing attitude has been key to his successful work, which governments are now increasingly adopting with the support of both donors and banks. And Rinaudo has planned to spread the technique to 100 countries by 2020. So, let's share a film that tells us about Tony Rinaudo.
The Australian agronomist Tony Rinaudo is known as the forest maker. He has discovered and put into practice a solution to extreme deforestation and desertification in the Sahel region. With a simple set of practices, farmers grow trees from existing root systems and protect local vegetation. Rinaudo's so-called farmer-managed natural regeneration method has restored 50,000 square kilometers of land in Niger alone and improved the livelihoods of millions. It has the potential to restore currently degraded drylands with an area the combined size of India. Rinaudo has created much more than an agricultural technique. He has inspired a farmer-led movement regreening land in the Sahel region and beyond.
Please, Tony Rinaudo, enter the stage to receive the Right Livelihood Award for demonstrating on a large scale how drylands can be greened at minimal cost, improving the livelihoods of millions of people. Woo! Be standing. Thank you. So, we would love to keep them all up here forever. However, we're now going to take a moment, a pause. It's time to continue your conversations and your networking. It's time to offer congratulations, to enjoy your good company and fine cuisine. After which, we offer more food for thought from the laureates themselves, who will share their visions, their motivations, and an insight into the courage that allowed them to produce such extraordinary achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, bon appetit. Here we come to, I believe, is one of the most privileged parts of the evening, which is a chance to hear the extraordinary nominations today speak and share their reflections. But before this, I am delighted to welcome to the stage an ensemble, Caro and El Club, a Swedish Latino group with Caro Schroeder and Julian Vigil at its base, but who often collaborate with artists from around the world. They have toured extensively and released 2 albums. So, to entertain your senses, a warm applause and welcome to Caro El Club, who will play their first song, Sigo Cantando.
Okay. Sola por el mundo voy buscando una vida mejor, contando los pasos que doy, cruzando ríos me voy, llorando lo que dejo atrás, sigo en esta mi dirección. Con lágrimas de dolor sigo cantando esta canción. Corro sin parar, temo que me van a atrapar. Sin respiro y sin descansar, me escondo en cualquier lugar. Mis ojos arden del sudor y el cuerpo tiembla del terror. Quebrada, yo sigo cantando esta canción. Sola por el mundo voy buscando una vida mejor, contando los pasos que doy, cruzando ríos me voy, llorando lo que dejo atrás, sigo en esta mi lágrimas de dolor, sigo cantando esta canción.
Thank you. Beautiful. So now we come to the evening where we begin with one of our first laureates for this evening to share their views, their expectations, who they are. I am delighted now to welcome to the stage and for us to listen to the tree whisperer, as is written here, Tony Rinaudo. A warm applause, thank you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Right Livelihood family, thank you. I'm so privileged, so happy to be here. In much the same way as a vigneron manages his grapevines, farmer-managed natural regeneration, or FMNR, is a technique that involves growing indigenous trees from existing stumps, roots, and seeds through selection, pruning, and managing the growing stems. And by choosing the right plants and by pruning and protecting them in a certain way, very rapid reforestation at low cost is possible, meeting farmers' needs while addressing pressing environmental issues. The Right Livelihood Award recognises nearly 40 years of hard work and dedication to a cause that is a response to a child's prayer asking to be used somehow, somewhere to make a difference. During a 7-year period immediately prior to this discovery, or more accurately, rediscovery, because it's built on traditional knowledge, the rediscovery of FMNR, international organisations and West African governments spent an estimated $160 million on reforestation efforts. The end result of all that effort, some 20,000 hectares of not doing very well plantations. That is $8,000 per hectare. Following the rediscovery and promotion of FMNR in 1983, the method spread to some 5 million hectares at a rate of 250,000 hectares per year for 20 years in Niger Republic. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody because I did exactly the same thing myself for 2.5 years, planting trees and failing miserably. And at a point of desperation and wanting to give up, it was only an answer to prayer again, to a desperate prayer, that opened my eyes to what actually had been literally at my feet and had been there the whole time. Today there are over 200 million trees being managed by farmers sustainably in a landscape which was previously all but treeless. And the cost, in terms of investment by projects, the cost was certainly much less than $10 million or $2 per hectare. This is because most of the cost is borne by the farmers themselves. If a value were to be put on their labour, it would be in the order of $14 to $20 per hectare, much, much less than the 8,000 that I previously mentioned. So what? What's the significance? The FMNR movement in Niger demonstrated that desertification could be reversed, and it could be done so at low cost, quickly, and at scale. And to my knowledge, something which hadn't been demonstrated previously. Well, that is important to me. It was what came with it that turned me into a passionate and tireless campaigner for promoting FMNR. As a result of returning trees into the farming landscape and at an average density of 40 per hectare, today in Niger, additional gross income, in other words, the value of what is consumed plus what people sell, is going directly to farmers, is in the order of $900 million per year, every year, without any ongoing project intervention. Nigerian farmers are growing an additional 500,000 tonnes of grain annually, enough to feed 2.5 million people, without fertilisers, without subsidies, irrigation or improved seed. In other words, FMNR enabled and empowered amongst the world's poorest and most marginalised people to largely lift themselves out of absolute poverty and chronic hunger. Having witnessed the horrors and deprivations of famine firsthand, and subsequently being witness to the transformational changes wrought by ordinary people embracing FMNR, I'm convinced, I'm convicted, I'm compelled to a life of sharing this amazing story and this transformative technique. How could I, or anybody else who truly grasps the significance of this simple technique, and the impact that it's had on people's lives, how could I be silent? And this leads me to bring up an even greater expression of this award, expression of why this award is important than mere recognition. Intentionally or not, in the millions of voiceless, marginalized and poor farmers, in that millions of voiceless, marginalized and poor farmers did the actual work of FMNR, the award acknowledges that poor people are only victims of poverty and beholden to the largesse of the rich to the degree that they are denied knowledge of how to work with nature instead of fighting against it, and to the degree that they are denied access and legal user rights to the natural resource base, that is, the vegetation, the land, the water, the natural resource base upon which all life on earth depends. Surely the award celebrates and is a testimony to their intelligence, their perseverance, and their dignity. And I salute Yahya Sawadogo for the wonderful work that he's doing. One of my favorite stories occurred as I was preparing to leave Niger. My wife and family and I lived in Niger 17 years. And I had some overseas visitors at the time who wanted to see the work. So we drove to the villages, and instead of going straight to the fields, we sat under the shade of a tree. And as is normal in Africa, a crowd gathered around. And maybe because I was feeling a bit down, I'd lived there so long, these were my friends. I loved the work, I loved the people. I asked them, what was the most significant impact of all the different project activities over those 17 years? And I was racing through my mind, surely they would have to mention how FMNR had transformed their lives and their landscape, stopping those 70 kilometre per hour winds which used to bury their seed and shoot blinding dust into their eyes, providing fuel wood close at hand and alleviating a great burden on women and children who sometimes had to walk for hours just to search for the fuel to cook their food. They didn't mention it. Perhaps I thought they would mention the famine relief work which had saved so many lives and reduced suffering. Nope, not this either. Or perhaps they would mention the new well, and women, again, women really suffered seeking water. The fuel-efficient cook stoves or the improved poultry, not even close. And I was getting a little bit down by this stage. What they did share with me has stayed with me ever since. They said, Mr. Tony, before this project came, we were nothing and nobody. We were not known to the world or even to our own government. We were not important to anybody. All that we ever saw of our own district chief was the dust from his vehicles as he spread through our village. The only time we saw somebody from the forestry department was when they came to fine us for cutting down trees. All we knew of the outside world was what we heard on the BBC. However, today, because of this project, the chief stops and seeks our counsel. The forestry department holds us up as an example to the whole nation on how to repair degraded land. And we regularly receive visitors from all around the world. Today, we are somebody and we're known. And it dawned on me, I'd been thinking in terms of, we need to feed these people, we need to help them, they're poor. But what was really important for them was their self-respect and their dignity. And as important as trees and the impact of trees on livelihoods and food security are, that day I realized that the real story, the thing that mattered most, was what was happening on the inside of people that I worked with. Looking forward, what the award could mean for the FMNR movement globally is potentially very, very significant. The prize money is specifically for the furtherance of the cause. These funds will be used to introduce FMNR into new areas where it is not yet known, as well as for the further entrenchment in areas where it's been started but it hasn't established. Beyond finance, though, the award itself gives FMNR a profile that simply didn't exist before. Despite the significance and the increasingly well-documented impact, FMNR is relatively unknown to national governments, international aid agencies, and donors. The Right Livelihood Award Foundation makes a point of supporting the causes of its laureates through introductions to media, potential donors, government policy makers, and to the fraternity of past laureates. I believe that this award will enhance and speed up the activities which international organisations such as my own World Vision and the Global Evergreening Alliance are already heavily engaged in, including contributing to Africa's goal of restoring 100 million hectares of degraded land. And the overarching Bonn Global Challenge of restoring 350 million hectares of degraded land globally by 2030. 1 hectare of degraded land is 1 hectare too many. The World Resources Institute says that there are at least 2 billion hectares of degraded land worldwide. 1 person hungry is 1 person too many. Currently tonight, 815 million people will go to sleep hungry as they do every night. The UNCCC gives us 10 years to rein in greenhouse gases before we are exposed to runaway climate change. For the last 20 years, I and others have been providing evidence which demands a verdict. When the poorest country in the world, on the edge of the Sahara Desert, under very, very harsh growing conditions, with no government assistance at that time and minimal NGO intervention, can effect an environmental, social and economic revolution that changed the trajectory of their history, what does that say to us? As the great philosopher lay dying on the footpath, he looked straight into his crying nephew's eyes and said, "With great power comes great responsibility." Actually, it was Spider-Man's uncle. But that does not lessen the truth of his wisdom. Who has power? Who has wealth? Who has agency if it's not us in this room? And who has responsibility to avert current and future catastrophes? I learned some time back that my name, Tony, if you spell it backwards, it reads, "Why not?" I like that. And why not is a very good question. Why couldn't we effect a re-greening revolution that changes the destiny of current and future generations? Victor Hugo said, "There is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come." And I believe that FMNR's time has come. I believe that the time has come for an unprecedented re-greening movement. We have the evidence. We have the power. We have the wealth. We have the agency. And yes, we have the responsibility. Why not? Will you join me? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Take center.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Woo!
Okay, let's go.
Fantastic. And I hope that we will continue and you will continue to help us whisper. Tony Rinaudo received his flowers from Louise Grabo, who is the spokesperson for international issues for the Centre Party Youth. I would now like to welcome to the stage Yahya Sawadogo to tell us more about his work in his own language. More. For you this evening, the translation of his speech will be shown on the screens, and we've also sent you the speeches in English to your emails. So you can read them simultaneously, or you can read them after he has made his presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome.
Tonde na ngwama zaya gwama parce que tonde ile karambishi wo ikaranga wo guruga wo sing kobo me tonde he singa wa zamana fa wa nkilimo ti tije kidi ti buyo da fa kidi tulumse fa kidi ti tonde me yedi bare namba sa commerce wa dat leb kobo angi het na mana wana ti zamana king tawre ti se wota nan luemo mambas ko bonde ko siga lam ken commerçant buyo ko ki ko buji to ko singi zai tubu singi zai tuba ma mi ke matia bumbu na fa zamana fa gilli to ma ke le ngara soma halan to tam yasurunda sa hedinga soma de puhriya barka ni sababu ninga ya han songudo ti zamana fa nan bangada la tumda me de bin king tawron pass lene ya zai jugu kom nabnangu tenganga kilimo tulumse kidi titise kidi mamna singa zaya me yum pisna slanu apale polum ba dare mbri aya soma barin kinga de halatu kun talunde de fa yasa lene tondrata mo zamana lemba han songo di bumbuna ninga tondu mi mti tumda na yibkan kinga tawron pass tumda na ile soma ko dunia famosa lene tonde ten pusia barka lat pusna biama barka lat pusia fangil kep barka wonna koy fa tongo ti manage bala manage lotu manage sia manage paniega manage hum manage bud fa ya neba fam manage lene di shunom ne wonna passe zamana barke wonna lokko yam pass ne kuninga hen kotonda ton nan di kalamu tum meuga la tum tisa la yakan tubako na yile la buyo de fa tol kom pam ñu te nafu ba fa lene tondo patar koyge lundu fa e suno bal ne fa gilli lene tondo la tam pousse barka te jugu bangre me lene fo gom bilfu lene tondo suma mo pousse barka la pousse ne ba fa barka tondo patar koyge asi tondo koyge teka ana yile wutu wena wole fanyo ya la passe barke wena kota man zart ba mi tongo bazan ti ton nafe lene tondo koyge na yile wutu bale ambasa wutu pas bilfu lene se wutu nam pas bilfu bale tiya yonta ya neten tembang tiya yonta pa vada kui tiya tara kwama tiya adam biye budu fa sumon shel tiya adam biye budu fa sumon tel tiya sem pakke ya ribla ho bawda sem pam dibin di frata masam rene tiya sumawa a mam paton yas kan sore parce que tiya pakka yondo arawa yondo bumbo na man fa ra tiletra wukin bal balu ngo menga hwede tini ba sawdu ya lu ngo la hwede ya rawu rene kenga panga ni managre ti she na managre patar totgi ni nga se ta se managa to na fa ne ba fa ti ne ba fa li kin na ken kanga ti na fa ba fa gilli rene ton dina ba so to bale buga tumda manwana ko mam zulesi runda ya kangara managre du gouvernement songo matum pam sep kangara sepa bal tumda nan kengra makay payal side watta wena mi de han lowa kangara zulesi ya ya bako bahna mana seba tom mana ga ladaga ninga taya soma bunna du sin ga kitisa fa ton nafe ton du julay ga wuto pousia barka fa gilli na wole nyoya na pasia barka na lokya na mane gudu dunya we sana sa fa gilli barka oh haya barka barka inna riega
Bravo.
haya
Woo!
haya sinula haya barka
Thank you. What an evening, everyone, and it's not over yet. Yahya Sawadogo received his flowers from Leila Ali Elmi, who is a member of parliament for the Green Party. I now have the honor of introducing Yahya Assiri and Omar al-Qahtani, who together will deliver their speech. Please, welcome to the stage. Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. I want to start out with saying thank you, everybody, for being here and supporting us. This prize is extremely important because it shows how my father's work and the effort have not been forgotten. I can't understand why he would be locked up for something he didn't do wrong. My father is a really smart guy who worked hard for our future and for everyone's future. He only did what was right and should not be in prison. Everybody has a right to say what they want. Everybody has a right to a freedom of speech. This freedom is extremely important for society because without it, we only follow one opinion. The last time I saw my father was 2 years ago. I visited him in jail. The first time my brother and I waited a full day, and in the end, we left without seeing him because he did not want us to see him with handcuffs. But the next time we came, we finally got to see him without handcuffs. Hugging my father for the first time in 4 years was an incredible feeling. I felt joy and sadness all at the same time. But mostly, I felt lucky. Lucky to have such an amazing father, and lucky to be able to see him again. We sat with him for about an hour, but it felt like 10 minutes. I never wanted it to end. He was smiling the whole time and listening carefully to all our stories. He advised us to concentrate and do well at school. If you fail, I fail, he told me. That's why I'm trying my best in my college to have a better future and to make my father proud. But my goal is not only to be successful, but to help others in need, just like what my father is doing. Before he was locked up, my father would let me skip school and told me to come with him to his trial. To be honest, I don't remember much about it. But the thing that I can't forget is how confident and positive he always was. He took the trial like it was nothing. I want to send a message to my father. Dear Father, I know that you can hear me now. Keep going and doing what you think is right. No one should tell you what to do or what to say. You have the right to express your opinion and no one can take that right from you. And everyone around the world who is hearing me now, I ask you to stand by my father, to keep his story and his belief alive. If all of us come together and listen to each other, we can create changes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the Livelihood Award. Thank you very much for everyone here for supporting the human rights and for support the great values. And congratulations for all the winners. On the 9th of March 2013, 63-year-old Abdullah al-Hamid was sentenced to 11 years in prison by the Specialized Criminal Court, a court set up specifically to try terrorism cases. Yet Abdullah al-Hamid was on trial for being a human rights defender, a crime that would not strike terror into anyone but those who want to rule without ever being held to account. But Abdullah is not just a human rights defender. He's an inspiration, and to me, he's an admired and a friend. Throughout his long presented and perseverable fight for justice, despite repression, threats, and harassment from the Saudi authorities, his inspiration to human rights defenders in the country, but perhaps more importantly, he is also an inspiration to many other Saudi who are eager for Saudi Arabia, where their rights and dignity are respected. In 1992, Abdullah helped to found a human rights organization. Because of that, he was fired from his job as a university professor and was sent to jail. He would later be imprisoned again and again for his activities in defending human rights. First in 1993, then in 1994, and in 1995, and later in 2004, and in 2006, and in 2008. The year after his release in 2009, Abdullah al-Hamid was the co-founder, along with Mohammad al-Qahtani and 9 other activists, to the Saudi Civil and Political Rights Association, acknowledged by the acronym HASM in Arabic and ACBRA in English. Mohammad al-Qahtani was also later tried before the Specialized Criminal Court. Among several other things, Mohammad was charged with presenting false information about Saudi Arabia to the United Nations Human Rights Mechanism, because the Saudi authorities want only one narrative to reach the world, and that narrative is their own. The authorities also accused Mohammed, without any sense of irony, of calling Saudi Arabia a police of state. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Through their organization, the Saudi Civil and Political Rights Association, Mohammed and Abdullah al-Hamid emphasized the need both to address specific cases of human rights abuse and violations, and to tackle the institutional and structural problems that allow such violations to happen. They were always trying to educate the general public, and they led by personal example, in the example that I myself try to follow. When the authority put them on trial, Abdullah and Mohammed took care to make it clear for everyone that it was the authorities who should have to answer for their crimes and abuses, not human rights defenders for drawing attention to those crimes. In the fight, Muhammad and Abdullah were not alone. Waleed Abu al-Khair, another dear friend of mine, fearlessly fought alongside them. In 2008, Waleed organized a hunger strike in solidarity with the jailed activist. The following year, he founded an organization called Monitor of Human Rights in Saudi Arabia. Waleed soon became one of the Saudi Arabia's most vocal human rights activists, both inside the country and regionally. Waleed inspired me with his energy and unwavering commitment. It was because of that steadfast commitment that he became the first human rights defender to be tried under the Saudi Arabia's new anti-terror law in 2014. He was charged with harming the reputation of the kingdom because he highlighted the violation of the authorities. He was charged with irritating public opinion against the country's public order, a public order built to repression and subjugations. But Waleed, Muhammad, and Abdullah, along with many other peaceful activists who are now behind bars, like Aziz al-Yusuf, Lujain al-Hidlul, Amal al-Harbi, Abdulaziz al-Shubeli, Mohammed al-Bjadi, and more, were not simply agitating against public order. People already know that things were bad. What those activists had showed them was that things could be different. And that's exactly what the authorities feared most. Those activists gave people hope. In celebrating these three men today, we highlight their long and ongoing fight for the society where all its members are respected, their dignity and rights protected, and their differences and diversities celebrated rather than suppressed. And celebrating them, we renew our commitment to fight for their release and the release of the peaceful activists and prisoners of conscience inside Saudi Arabia, regionally, and across the world. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yahya Assiri and Omar al-Qahtani received flowers from Johanna Jonsson, who is a member of Parliament for the Centre Party. We will now take a moment to listen again to Caro El Club, this time with a song, En Tujo Hojas. Thank you. An applause.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who don't speak Spanish, en tus ojos means in your eyes.
Nada va a ser igual. Necesito la fuerza para el adiós. Dame el fuego contra el dolor. Esos soy yo, que acaso cruzo el mundo sin pensar de dónde vengo ni a dónde mis pasos me llevarán. Y a veces me pregunto si se ven las estrellas, y a veces me pregunto si se ven las estrellas en tus ojos de amor, tus ojos, en tus ojos de amor. El cielo nos da la luz que será en mi corazón una infinita memoria de amor, un sueño de paz sin mentiras. Vuela el océano en una nave de plata. Solo recuerda que soy tuya, sin ti es tan grande mi soledad. Y a veces me pregunto si se ven las estrellas, ay, ay, ay. A veces me pregunto si se ven las estrellas en tus ojos de amor, en tus ojos de amor. Me pregunto si se ven las estrellas, ay, ay, ay. Y a veces me pregunto si se ven las estrellas en tus ojos de amor, en tus ojos de amor, en tus ojos de amor. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. So good luck and keep your eye on them in the future. Of course, we continue our extraordinary evening, and I have a great honor to introduce Thelma Aldana onto the stage, who will share her reflections in Spanish. And again, to remind you that the text is translated and will appear on the screens or on your mobile phones. Welcome to the stage. A warm applause, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Señoras y señores, Guatemala es un país integrado por 24 grupos lingüísticos y 4 pueblos, maya, garífuna, xinca y mestizo. Se ha caracterizado por una marcada exclusión histórica de los pueblos indígenas en general y de las mujeres en particular. El acceso a los servicios básicos y recursos financieros formales, los servicios de salud y educación aún son limitados. Las desigualdades territoriales, étnicas y de género interrelacionadas intensifican las limitaciones de las personas para lograr una participación plena y el desarrollo humano integral. El racismo y la exclusión han generado diversas formas de violencia y discriminación estructural, legal e institucional que se profundizan en el caso de las mujeres indígenas. La historia de Guatemala es un relato que se puede resumir hablando de un conflicto armado interno de más de 30 años, ocurrido durante los años de 1962 a 1996. Relato de violencia, condiciones de racismo, machismo y debilitamiento del tejido social. Ese conflicto armado interno, de acuerdo con la Comisión de Esclarecimiento Histórico, dejó un saldo de más de 200.000 personas fallecidas, 45.000 personas y más de 1 millón de desplazados internos y refugiados. Tuvo como elementos causales la injusticia estructural, el cierre de los espacios políticos, el racismo, la profundización de la institucionalidad excluyente y antidemocrática, así como la implementación de la doctrina de seguridad nacional. El 29 de diciembre de 1996 se llevó a cabo la firma de los acuerdos de paz. Estos acuerdos introducen las bases necesarias para un desarrollo en paz y auguraban un futuro moderno para el país, pero la falta de voluntad política ha impedido durante 20 años su cumplimiento e implementación. Producto de ese conflicto armado interno, surgieron los cuerpos ilegales de seguridad y aparatos clandestinos de seguridad incrustados en el Estado. Esa realidad, y ante un sistema excluyente que limitaba las opciones de desarrollo, caracterizado por la impunidad y la corrupción, motivó al gobierno de la República, bajo la gestión de Sociedad Civil en el año 2006, a solicitar a Naciones Unidas apoyo para la creación de un mecanismo internacional que ayudara al país a la desarticulación de esos aparatos clandestinos y a luchar contra la impunidad. Surge así la Comisión Internacional contra la Impunidad en Guatemala. De la mano de CICIG, el Ministerio Público inició una lucha contra la corrupción y la impunidad sin precedentes en la historia del país y con efectos tan importantes. Descubrimos que aquellos aparatos clandestinos de seguridad y cuerpos ilegales de seguridad se convirtieron en redes político-económicas ilícitas incrustadas en el Estado. Hemos demostrado que las instituciones públicas pueden funcionar para todos los ciudadanos y no solo para los que cuentan con el favor y la protección de los políticos de turno o para quienes pertenezcan a grupos de poder. Guatemala se había organizado para enriquecer a los actores de poder y eso es lo que hemos empezado a derrotar. Hoy en el país se sabe que sin importar de quién se trate, la justicia puede operar bajo un Estado de Derecho como factor clave para fortalecer la incipiente democracia. Nuestra meta ahora debe ser que esa eficiencia se convierta en la práctica normal de las instituciones guatemaltecas para cumplir su compromiso con la población. Hemos demostrado también que guatemaltecos y guatemaltecas unidos podemos tener un país distinto. Sin embargo, también nos ha quedado claro que las prácticas del pasado, de cooptación del Estado, polarización, campañas de desprestigio y hasta las amenazas a la integridad física de quienes hemos trabajado en la lucha contra la corrupción y la impunidad son todavía muy fuertes y utilizan muchos recursos económicos y políticos. En este avance en Guatemala, debo reconocer el rol que la sociedad civil, fiscales y jueces y la comunidad internacional han tenido en el esfuerzo anticorrupción. Sociedad civil y comunidad internacional han sido dos acompañantes que no han dejado de caminar a nuestro lado, al lado de la gente, para buscar esa transformación que hemos iniciado. El mecanismo de la Comisión Internacional contra la Impunidad de Naciones Unidas ha demostrado ser exitoso apoyando a una institución como el Ministerio Público comprometida con los más básicos principios de justicia e integridad. Sin duda, bajo esa alianza hemos logrado avances que evidencian la descomposición de los partidos políticos, de la administración pública y de las cúpulas de poder que se agrupaban para concentrar los recursos de un Estado que se olvidaba de fortalecer a las instituciones públicas y olvidaba a sus ciudadanos. En ese contexto, recibir el Premio Nobel Alternativo es un estímulo, no solo personal, es un aliciente para la población cansada de la desigualdad, de la pobreza, del hambre y de la falta de oportunidades. Lo recibo con humildad, como una ciudadana guatemalteca que lo entrega en forma simbólica a ese pueblo que tanto ha sufrido. El reto al frente es muy grande, pero muchos guatemaltecos y guatemaltecas tenemos el compromiso claro y determinado de derrotar las viejas prácticas de corrupción, de impunidad y de hacer política para tornar la dramática historia de nuestro pueblo en un relato de esperanza, de desarrollo y de paz social. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. 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 Muchas gracias.
Thank you all. The flowers to Thelma Aldana were given by Waleed Abu, who is a member of Parliament for the Christian Democrats. Now, with continued joy and enthusiasm, we will now welcome to the stage Iván Velásquez. Welcome and speak with us. Again, translations exist. Welcome. A round of applause, thank you.
Buenas noches. Se nos ha concedido el Premio Nobel Alternativo porque, en palabras del jurado, hemos logrado exponer el abuso de poder y enjuiciar la corrupción en Guatemala, reconstruyendo así la confianza de las personas en las instituciones públicas. Otorgar un premio de derechos humanos por combatir la corrupción no es, desde luego, una confusión. Por el contrario, confirma que la lucha contra la corrupción tiene que ser la lucha por la vida digna de todas las personas, pero especialmente de las mayorías excluidas, discriminadas, vilipendiadas, marginadas de los beneficios de la civilización que nos vanagloriamos de haber alcanzado. La corrupción es un delito contra la humanidad, contra la dignidad humana que se ha podido desarrollar en Guatemala, porque el Estado se convirtió en botín de los poderosos de todas las especies y perdió su norte, si alguna vez lo tuvo, de generador del bienestar colectivo. Millones de dólares producto de los sobornos que pagan empresarios nacionales y transnacionales, se suman anualmente a los millones de dólares que son apropiados por funcionarios que aumentan desmesuradamente sus riquezas. En un país en el que casi el 50% de los niños menores de 5 años, entre ellos 8 de cada 10 niños indígenas, padecen desnutrición crónica. 4.240 niñas en 2017 fueron madres entre los 10 y los 14 años. El 92% de los que cultivan la tierra para apenas subsistir ocupan el 21.9% de la superficie, mientras el 2% de los productores agrícolas de exportación tienen el 65.4% de la tierra, que por cierto es la más fértil. El 67% de la población general, 80% de la población indígena vive en la pobreza, 34% en la pobreza extrema, para no hablar del acceso a los servicios de salud, del empleo, de la vivienda, de la educación, del analfabetismo y el semianalfabetismo. Luchar contra la corrupción no es solo búsqueda de vida digna en las condiciones materiales de existencia de la población. En la medida en que los poderosos ven limitados sus privilegios de impunidad y deben someterse al imperio de la ley, la lucha contra la corrupción es también la lucha por una justicia que alcance a todos los transgresores de la convivencia, cualquiera sea su condición económica, política o social. Pero para que esto sea posible, es necesario un poder judicial fuerte e independiente, respetado por los demás poderes públicos. La justicia, como uno de los pilares fundamentales de la democracia. Entonces, combatir la corrupción es también luchar por un Estado de derecho, en el que, así como nadie está por encima de la ley, a nadie le pertenece particularmente el Estado y todos los ciudadanos tienen la posibilidad real de participar en los asuntos públicos y ejercer la vigilancia y control de las autoridades que actúan en su representación. Ese fue el sendero que empezó a transitar Guatemala en el año 2015, cuando el pueblo comprobó que la corrupción se había apoderado de todas sus instituciones, que el Estado no le pertenecía, y se volcó a las calles entusiasta y confiado en poder conquistar el futuro. Atrás quedaba un pasado de sumisión, de silencio y de miedo, propiciado por eternas dictaduras militares y un prolongado conflicto armado interno que duró más de 36 años, dejando millares de desaparecidos y de víctimas inocentes, especialmente entre su población indígena, que padeció la política de tierra arrasada. Miles de niños, jóvenes, adultos y ancianos, mujeres y hombres, hijos, padres y abuelos, familias enteras salieron felices y decididas, llenas de esperanza y de entusiasmo, a reclamar justicia, porque entendieron que la lucha contra la impunidad sí era posible, como posible era vivir en dignidad. Pero los poderosos, siempre astutos y siempre poderosos, supieron resistir, y después de la sorpresa inicial, de la primavera que los tomó desprevenidos, se reagruparon y pasaron a la ofensiva. No podían perder sus privilegios, no podían perder el monopolio de la impunidad que siempre han manejado, no podían perder el Estado de ellos. Entonces, financiaron agresivas campañas de desinformación, de desprestigio y de difamación. Se dijeron víctimas de la politización de la justicia. Se quejaron de ser perseguidos políticos o de la amenaza del comunismo internacional que sobrevive en sus mentes calenturientas. Hicieron demostraciones de fuerza y desempolvaron los símbolos de la represión. Y parece que han recuperado el control. Para eso, además, hay dinero suficiente. Pero solo parece, porque Guatemala ya no es la misma. Conoció la luz de la verdad y sabe que esa verdad existe. La tiene frente a sí y continuará su lucha por la dignidad humana. Recuperó el recuerdo de la justicia que tenía perdido en su mundo de sumisión, de impotencia y pesimismo, al que quieren hacerla retornar. Señoras y señores, este premio que ahora nos conceden es sin duda un reconocimiento a la labor que han realizado nuestros compañeros del Ministerio Público y de la Comisión Internacional contra la Impunidad en Guatemala, a su compromiso y a su valentía. Pero especialmente es la felicitación que desde el mundo se le da a un pueblo que seguirá soñando hasta lograrlo con un futuro de paz, justicia y prosperidad para todos. Como dice el hermoso poema de Julia Esquivel, podrán cortar todas las flores, pero siempre volverá la primavera. Florecerás, Guatemala. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. So the evening continues. The flowers for Mr. Valcarez were given by Josephine Malmquist, who is Deputy Mayor and Member of Parliament for the Moderate Party. One of the reasons we're here, of course, and what I think many of us understand, is that without Jacob von Uxkull, there would not have been a Right Livelihood Award. Amelie von Zweiberg, who is comparably new to the award, will now have a short conversation with the founder. So please give them both a warm applause.
So, thank you. So, before we close this fantastic evening, it's my great honor to introduce the man who initiated the Right Livelihood Award in 1980. He was the chairman for the award for 35 years and served on the board of the foundation until 2015. Today, he has no formal role with the Right Livelihood Award Foundation any longer, but is working to build up the World Future Council, which he founded in 2007 to research, identify, and spread future policy solutions. With his vision and endurance, he has made incredible contribution for a more just, peaceful, and sustainable world. Please give a warm hand to the founder of the Right Livelihood Award. Welcome, Jakob von Uxkull. I hope you can feel the love. Yeah, good. So, in 1980, you approached the Nobel Foundation with a proposal to set up 2 new Nobel Prizes, one for the environment and another one for human development. What did the Nobel Foundation really reply to you?
Well, they discussed it and they decided against it. And of course, that means they have added 1 new Nobel Prize over the years, namely for economics, but refused one for the environment. And that, of course, is being criticized even by the Nobel family, and we had a Nobel family member on our board for a number of years.
Okay. So, and then after this, you started the Right Livelihood Award. And did you expect that it would go on like this for almost 40 years?
Yes, I probably did, because, the world needs it. But I didn't expect it would be so difficult to build a new mainstream. I thought if you show the solutions, then they will be implemented. But I underestimated the institutional blockages.
Yeah, someone have some questions about this committee. We shouldn't talk more about that. No, anyway, global development has gotten increasingly worrying in the last year. But an important principle here in Right Livelihood Award is to focus on the positive solutions. Are you a notorious optimist?
No, I don't believe in being an optimist or a pessimist. I'm a possibilist. I support William James coined that term, an English writer. I support projects of hope. New technologies will not save us because they also require sustainable energy and water and scarce resources. And the media give much publicity to a few climate change deniers. But as our laureate Jose Lutzenberger said 30 years ago, there are many more climate scientists who regard even the IPCC reports as too optimistic. And to quote an example very close to home, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault was built for millennia and was designed by our laureate Gary Fowler, but it now has to be rebuilt after less than 10 years because the ice is melting so fast.
And now we heard also about the Vasa Museum, that there are some worrying about this building. So, Dr. Dennis Mukwege, he received the Right Livelihood Award back in 2013. And in a few weeks, he will become the second Right Livelihood Award laureate to receive also the Nobel Peace Prize. What's your thought about that?
Well, the international media have long recognized that the Right Livelihood Awards are aligned with Nobel's aim to recognize, as he put it, those who brought the greatest benefit to humanity. So it therefore isn't really surprising that Wangari Maathai and now Dennis have received Nobel Prizes. It's perhaps more surprising that it hasn't happened more often.
I think that's worth an applause. Well, I have been in the jury for a rather short period of time, but you were a member for many, many years. So you were a member of the international jury of the award until a few years ago. For you, what's so special about this year's laureates? For my makeup, it wasn't good to listen to Umar, I would say. I was very touched.
Well, the huge scope of the recipients, I think, again, they show the challenge, but also the rewards when you try to build really global alliances. And, of course, the three who are in jail this year, which has only happened twice in all the past decades, with Mordecai Vanunu and Ken Saro-Wiwa, they remind us that we still live in a world where, to quote the sentence against one of our Saudi recipients, he was condemned to 15 years in jail for communicating with international organizations.
Yeah. So then we come to the last question. Over the last decade, you have been building up a new organization. What is the most important idea behind the World Future Council?
Well, the World Future Council was very much created as a partner for the Right Livelihood Awards, helping best practices become best policies. That is legally enforceable laws and agreements, rather than risk remaining islands of success in seas of policy failure. Its Future Policy Award shows that there are effective local, often city, regional and national laws which can spread in a race to the top. And Socrates once wrote that if you want to create something long-lasting, you should either write poetry or laws. And when you have a good law like in Ethiopia, and I know Tony has been sort of visiting them, so there are connections, very many connections there with the Right Livelihood Awards. The celebrations of last year's Future Policy Award in Ethiopia, which was on the theme of combating desertification, attracted over 100,000 persons at the celebrations.
That's the celebration.
Yes, so that's the real celebration. And because, of course, as Martin Luther King said, and I think it's good to remember this, to close with this, laws may not move the heart, but they restrain the heartless. Thank you.
That's a good one. I think it's worth an applaud. So, if you in the audience now feel I want to know more about World Future Council, you can see here the name of the website. Just go in and look if you would like to. And then I would say thank you so very much, Jakob, and thank you for being with us tonight. And please all give a big applause to Jakob van Uxkull.
So everyone, the evening is almost at a close. And I thought I would add a secret surprise this evening, and that I would put a gift for tonight. I would like to dedicate a song. I'd like to dedicate this song as my gift to the extraordinary laureates that we have met this evening, to the people who are not here, to the empty chairs, to the people across the globe who continue to fight for humanity and equality and belief that we can be better. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to the foundation itself for asking me to be here this evening, and particularly for the three chairs. This is a song by a favorite of mine, Nina Simone. I won't need this. The song is called Feeling Good. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, yeah, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah. Stars, when you shine, you know what I mean. Scent of the pine, you know what I mean. Freedom is mine, yeah, you know what I mean. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new life for me, yeah. Dragonflies in the sun, you know how I feel. Butterflies out having fun, you know how I feel. Freedom is mine, yeah, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah. A new dawn, new day, new life for me. away. I said nobody gonna take away, nobody gonna take away. I am born free, nobody gonna take away my freedom. Thank you. Thank you. So, back to the day job. To remind you all and to thank you for a wonderful evening. A huge congratulations again to the laureates, and I know that you will stay and enjoy coffee, continue good conversation, remember those who are not with us, and of course continue to support for as long as you can. There will be coffee, and then there will be a chance for you to take photographs of the laureates here on stage. Continued success and power to us all. Good night, everyone.